This is Omni Sports Breakfast. Sports with Kevin McCallum and MKT.
The Brewers Revolution is complete. Or is it? It's rolling. It's certainly rolling right now. Bafana beat Congo 5-0. But again, the administrators have let everyone down. And as our mothers used to say, is most of all, they've let themselves down. That's the worst part. They've let themselves down. Congo went to the dressing room and the match was stopped for 20 minutes after pitch invaders ran onto the pitch following Bafana's third goal again. They ran on again. Reporters say there wasn't enough security employed to control the capacity crowd in Gqeberha, and this has left a sour taste in what should have been a celebratory moment for all of us. Or maybe I'm just being a little difficult. Let's find out from a man who is the host of Inside SA Soccer, journalist for decades now. Projects, how long have you been a journalist now?
It depends. Since 1992, but since 1996. So it's I became a journalist straight from matric, and then I went to school and I went back to proper journalism. I started at the start in 1996.
So it was 96 when you signed your professional contract?
Yes, I was an amateur before that.
You're in the academy.
Junior ranks.
No, I get it. It's kind of like when do you start counting with one's wife? Is it when you start dating or when you get married? I hear you. So in the big time, you've been since 96. You and Josiah Tungwane both came through together. I love to hear that. All right. Projects.
And Bafana Bafana.
And
we won the Nations Cup.
Wait, are you suggesting those two events are correlated? When you started writing, Bafana Bafana started winning?
Of course.
Ladies and gents, just to give you an insight of what type of person we're working with here, the great Projects. Let's get to the football on the weekend. I want to start with the performance on the pitch. 5-0, class, incredible, clinical, love the control. At long last, I see Bafana having some control in the midfield. It looks like there's a plan in there. We'll get to the young man who I really love as kind of a Busquets in a bit. But 5-0 on the pitch, all good, huh?
Oh, it was amazing. I loved everything about it from the back, like you say. I think you could see the Sundowns influence. I mean, those guys had 6-7 players from Sundowns, and the confidence with which they played. They started the ball from the back, and when they went into the final third, the decision making was spot on. It was beautiful. I think I would have loved for them to break that record, though. They equaled Bafana Bafana's biggest winning margin, 5-0. We beat Guatemala 5-0 in those pre-World Cup matches in 2010. But when it was 3-0 at halftime, I was like, please go and score 3 more at least, just so that you are remembered as the team that made the biggest winning margin. But they didn't. But it doesn't take away from just an all-round classy performance by the team.
You spoke about the influence of Sundowns, and one man who I've just loved watching his development both at Sundowns and then in the Pirates. I wish he was at Pirates.
You love Pirates, very much.
So that was a Freudian slip if ever there was one. I wish he was at Pirates, but in the Bafana shirt, Tebogo Mokoena, he was dominant in midfield. Not only did he pull the strings, he goes and scores 2 goals. I mean, what a player he's become.
He has. He's really grown. I watched him when he was at SuperSport, and you could see the potential. You'll remember he was with the under-23s that went to the Olympics. He's a classy player. He works hard. He wins the ball, but then he goes forward and he scores. And he can. The first goal. Tebogo Mokoena heading the ball the way he did, jumping as high as he did. It was just beautiful to watch.
And a great cross as well. The corner was outstanding. Tell me, how is Mokoena treated at Sundowns? I saw Bruce mentioning something about that. He's not very happy.
Yeah, but I think that is something. Personally, I think it's a Sundowns thing. The biggest challenge here is the club has not exactly come out to say what is the problem there. But from my reading and from my understanding, and I've spoken to the coaches, there's some discipline issues that happened, and the coach felt step aside. His official line is, we had a match and we rested Tebogo and Khodiso, and the team that came in played very well, and I'm not changing my team. But the truth apparently is there was some ill discipline, and he put him aside, and Sundowns are winning without him. The reality is he's the best they have, but Coach Mangoba has his players that are winning, and he's not going to change. I think whatever it is, Tebogo needs to speak to the coach. They sort it out, and he gets to play. But if not, I would not be surprised if he doesn't even play at Sundowns, even though he's doing well in the national team.
Is this breaking news? Because I have not read that anywhere. I mean, are you giving us an exclusive, a behind the look of what big time journalists?
Exclusive. What do you mean? No, but it's been out there. It's when he was first benched, there was somebody leaked it before the match. I think was it the Chiefs match? There was a match where Sundowns were going to play, and it got leaked before match day when they were playing Stellis in the MTN 8. That Teboho and Khudiso are not playing, and the coach, I remember, was very angry that, I mean, who knows my lineup before I even announce it? And since then, the two were kept out. Khudiso then was brought on against Chiefs, and he played, but Teboho has not played since then. And Coach Mangoba at one press conference actually spoke about it, and he was asked, and he said after that particular match, and he said, "Listen, I've been a coach for ages, and if a player thinks he's bigger than the club, I'm not one to tolerate that." And he gave examples of when he was at Golden Arrows, where there was this boy, Y2K, I forget his real name. He was a big star at Arrows, and he thought he was bigger. And Mangoba said, "I have managed to freeze out Y2K. And at Amazulu, there was a Nigerian guy called Pere Ariwairi, who was also who thought he was bigger than the club. And Mangoba put him on the side. And he said that, I'm not afraid to deal with so-called big players." So that gave the sort of the hint that it is not just about Teboho being put on the bench because we wanted to try other things, but more because there were some discipline issues. Sundowns have not come out to say it, and that's the challenge. But I know it's exactly that. As a player, like you say, his class, Mangoba knows that as well. But if you're going to think you're bigger than me, I'm not going to play you, and that's just what it is.
Well, you join Omnisport Breakfast for this kind of stuff. Prat Jakes, host of Inside SA Soccer, and of course, journalist since 1996 officially, although 1992 with an asterisk is when he actually started. But listen, I love that. I love that sort of insight because, as I say, I'm only seeing the product on the pitch, and I haven't read this. And I think of myself as some hardcore football fan. So that's good to know. But I love that. Coach Mangoba, the standard is the standard, as Hugo Bruce is saying. Let's go off the pitch, Prat Jakes. For me, I wasn't happy with what I saw there in terms of, number one, Congo arriving late. I don't know how that's happening between both associations. So already we're off to a bad start. And then there's the guys running on the field. I mean, let's start off with the Congo issue, right? That's unacceptable, surely.
Yeah. No, but yeah, unacceptable. But the thing is, if you had been following the build-up to it, you don't listen to Inside SA Soccer clearly because we spoke about these things. Congo have had problems for months now. There was actually, get this, Congo were supposed to play Niger in a World Cup qualifier in Congo, and they did not pitch up for the match. They... in your own country, you don't pitch up. They lost that match 3-0 as per the rules because they didn't pitch up. And then they were supposed to host Morocco, and they couldn't host Morocco and the Congo. And then they went to play in Morocco. They lost that match 6-0. Just before last week, the Congo FA were having a meeting in their own offices, in their headquarters, and the police came and took them out, and the meeting could not happen. So we knew that there was just trouble there. When the teams were releasing the squads for match day 3, the Congo squad was just nowhere to be found because there was just disorder, there was chaos in the build-up. And we knew they didn't arrive on time. They didn't even have the what do you call it, the regulatory pre-match inspection of the pitch, pre-match training at the pitch, and the captains ran the day before. So that is what it was. And I remember myself and Comrade Lake speaking as we build up to the match to say, if Bafana do not take advantage of this chaotic situation in the Congolese camp, they would be missing an opportunity, but I'm glad they took advantage of that.
I just want to address me not listening to Inside SA Soccer. I told you I had surgery. Last week was for me. I was out of commission, so I couldn't listen. But so I apologize for that. But also, you've got an agenda against Orlando Pirates, but we'll come back to that.
MK was getting that Pirates chip on his shoulder, seemed to.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's the agenda against Orlando Pirates that they have on Inside SA Soccer. Joining us, Brad Jakes, host of Inside SA Soccer and journalist, of course, breaking down why Congo were late. But let's get into matters on the home front as well. What I didn't enjoy is we are in a place where we are the most resourced country in Africa. We have no excuse, particularly in sport. We know that we've got the money. It's been argued, I believe, revenue-wise, it is easily the highest grossing league in the world. It's in the top 10 in the world as well, the PSL. But then we get to a SAFA matter here, from what I understand, is how do we get in a position where we don't have enough security to control a capacity crowd at Gqeberha? It's like they didn't expect a full crowd. What happened there?
But you are saying we didn't have security, but you saw what happened immediately after the stoppages. Suddenly there were hundreds of people wearing that lime tops, surrounding the perimeter. So there were either they were. I mean, my thinking is there were people who were there who were support, and it happens in a lot of our matches. You get these guys who get hired to be security on match day, but they sit somewhere and watch the match instead of doing what they did after those two invasions. But let me tell you how security in South African football work, and you will understand just why we had the best for blame for not having organized proper security to make sure we don't have those intrusions on the pitch. But what happens is the South African Football Association, and to some extent even the PSL, they have a company that gets contracted to them, a security company that gets contracted to them. This security company is what they then do on match day. A lot of them just drive. PE, for example, the match was in Gqeberha. They would have in the morning driven through the township and say, "Oh, don't you want the job? Let's come and be a security at the match, Bafana Bafana match." I promise you, they don't probably pay them more than 500 rands. And then they bring those people into the stadium and they call them security. Not trained, not equipped to deal with anything. You've seen it. I don't know if you've watched in a lot of times where a kid runs onto the pitch like those ones did, and you see a guy coming. The manner in which they handle it, you can see these people are not trained in crowd control. So that's the biggest challenge. And why is it that all those many that we saw were after the stoppages were not there? Talks to SAFA just not being prepared for this match. One, you have not had a match in PE for a long time. Two, Bafana Bafana are playing well after those two matches, but there's just excitement in South African football because, Kaizer Chiefs are doing well, the stadiums are being packed, Orlando Pirates are doing well, Sundowns. So there was bound to be a huge crowd and SAFA needed to have been prepared, but clearly they were not. You saw when they were walking on the pitch, Danny Jordan looked like he had no clue what to do. It took Helman Kalele to speak to the crowd. Gayton McKenzie looked to do something. And suddenly you saw a bunch of policemen coming out. I suspect a call was made to the nearest police station to say, "Hey, guys, come help us."
Genuinely, that's what it looked like to me. I mean, they all came marching in formation there. But Jakes, do you have another 5 minutes for us? Because I'd like to unpack a little bit more on the matter. I've got a hard out here. So if you are just joining us, good morning. We've got Brad Jakes joining us this morning. Inside SA Soccer, which I do listen to. He hosts that show. He's a journalist, of course, as well, and an aficionado, and a very good runner, by the way. Guy ran 37-minute 10K the other week. We're going to keep talking about this Bafana matter. We want to get to the bottom of exactly why there were security concerns and why there wasn't enough security. We'll talk about Gayton McKenzie and Danny Jordan on the other side. It's Omni Sport Breakfast.
This is Omni Sports Breakfast. Sports with Kevin McCallum and MKT.
We're going to continue to discuss the circus that happened down in Gqeberha as Bafana Bafana won 5-0. That's good news. What happened off the pitch, though, despicable in the eyes of many, and truly a sad moment on a magnificent day for the football team on the pitch. Listen, lots happened, and we're gonna we're going to get into exactly what happened here. Kev McCallum's got something for you, Brad Jakes, regarding what happened in terms of Gayton McKenzie, Danny Jordan. I mean, we kind of saw what happened there. Kev, what you got for Brad Jakes there?
Yeah, I mean, Gayton McKenzie coming down. But my one concern is does SAFA have a head of security at the moment? I know they haven't, and they've had issues with the security contract, which was cancelled in March because it was overpriced, double the price, and the company was one that was based in Cape Town and didn't really know how to do crowd control. Do they have a head of security right now?
I don't know. Hey, it's one thing I was saying. I mean, we need to check. With SAFA, you never know what's happening there. And you are right. It's Danny and Gayton should not have been on the pitch. We should have seen a guy who heads the security being the one who controls, who comes down and sorts out what is happening. But clearly there seems to not be. There was just chaos. They looked, like I say, they looked lost. They didn't know what to do. You even saw Natasha being there. And it was just sad what happened. And the thing is, it's like I say, you're taking a match to a place where people are starved of football. If you look at those people who went onto the pitch, they were just excited young people who ran onto the pitch. But that should not be allowed. It's an international match. You cannot have a fan celebrating players. I mean, one of them jumped over top of Mokwena. It's just dangerous. And that referee did so well to tell them that you mess up the next time, the match is over. And that's the risk. Can you imagine if a third invasion had happened, we would have lost that match 3-0. And I can bet you the announcement would have had to be made that this is what happened, 35,000. We would have had a disaster, because I don't think the crowd would have accepted that, because a lot of people do not know the rules about football as to what happens. You know, in South Africa over the years, when we grew up, remember, Mbulelo, I don't know how old you were then, but when the old Orlando Stadium, you know, when a goal was scored, people would run in and, you know, hug the players. The match will continue later on, but not anymore. And SAFA needed to have made sure that we don't have that. But it clearly talks to what I'm saying, that they probably just went out into the streets and asked people to come and help on the day of the match.
Very, very sad. Very, very sad images being beamed to the world, because you know that there are all sorts of biases which we, even as South Africans, I think we now hold these biases, and we all subscribe, and I certainly subscribe to a confirmation bias of I thought back to a book that I've read called Douglas Adams' great book, The Madness of Crowds, and I sort of to what you're saying is, I thought one more of these, and it's not just going to be 3 young kids. It's going to be people are sheep. Then it's 12 people, because people will go, if he can, why not me? And then it becomes a snowball effect. So as you say,
that's what I'm saying.
No, please go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you know, credit has to be given to that referee, a guy from Mauritania. He was just in charge. I mean, he went to Hugo Bruce and says, I'm not tolerating this nonsense. It happens again, it's over. You guys lose. And I mean, Bruce in the press conference was saying, it's the greatest match I've seen my team play, but I was sitting on the bench. He says, whenever a goal was scored, I looked around the pitch to say, God, don't let them run in again. Don't let them run in again. And that's the sad thing, that you have a guy who should be enjoying the match. People forget Hugo Bruce is almost 80. We don't want to be killing that Belgian with a heart attack, you know?
No, we don't. The last thing we need is pitch invaders, and then a Belgian man dies because of a heart attack in Africa. But on a very serious note, you know, how can African football, if we don't take ourselves seriously, how can anyone take us seriously? Because how can our players and the environment become elite if we can't take care of these are regulatory little things?
Yeah, it's because our football, the continent over, is run by a lot of let me choose my words carefully here, but people who should not be running the sport.
Selfish people.
A lot of these are like just people who are in it for, I mean, think of it. How long has Danny Jordan been in charge of SAFA?
Too long.
There's no new thinking. There's people stuck in old ways, people who are in it because, you know, they can be. You look at we need change in African football. We need our football to be run by people who are progressive, people who are experienced, who know where the world of football is going. Because in terms of talent, yes, you saw how Bafana Bafana played. I think we can be there with the best in the world. But if we are not running it, I mean, we're speaking about this with what happened. Look at what happened with the Congo, the stories I'm telling you, that there's just no planning. I mean, just to divert a little, the reason Stellenbosch FC are in the group stages is because when they played Vita Club from the DRC, the same thing, the club was just in such chaos that after the match, in a press conference, the coach resigned and said, I can't work with people who are just not organized. And that's the problem. That people who run our football they are amateurs. They are not professional. And it's the same with the South African Football Association. Until it's run by people who are going, it's checks and balances. You're hosting a huge match. Go to the bloody stadium and plan. Have your security guys says, if this happens, this is what we do. This is what you do. This is what you do. But like I say, they don't. They walk into the township and pick up people to be security guards on the day of the match.
Very, very sad. I mean, the analogy there, I think, is that our administrators are an analog clock in a digital time. They are
Exactly.
They are truly out of their depth. Brajesh, thanks so much for your time this morning. Before I let you go, what is on a show which I listen to called Inside SA Soccer?
You've just taken my. This is my show. You've just taken my show.
Fantastic.
I'm speaking about
we need the ratings.
I'm speaking about Tebogo Mokoena. I'm speaking about this very same issue, but of course in a Brajex way. We are going to look at the Tebogo Mokoena issue and just with Njabulo Ngidi, and then we'll also look at. I mean, there's one thing that a lot of South Africans are sort of, what's the word, are confused of. Why is it that Congo, Uganda are number one in our group when we have scored 10 goals and we've got the best goal difference? And we are going to clarify just exactly why is that. And then we'll also, Burkina Faso are the first team to qualify, and we'll be talking about that and the other match day 3 results, just reflecting on that before match day 4 starts today.
Love that. Listen out for that, because Njabulo Ngidi, if you don't know him, so he's an unbelievable young journalist. I absolutely love him. I think one of the future voices that'll shape the consciousness of the South African football narrative and minds indeed. So that's a great listen, because he's an unbelievably erudite dude as well. So to have him and Brajex talking about such cool matters, that'll be Inside SA Soccer today. Brajex, look after yourself out there, and let's end that Pirates agenda.
Let's do that.
All right. Appreciate you for your time. Take it easy, Projects. All right. Well, there you have it. Who knew? Congo, huh? Wow.
Yeah. So, I've been reading a lot about that Congo story and why they were late and why they were coming in. And this is bringing me to one part of the week.
All right, our feature of the week. Listen, that's big time broadcasting. Kev, I love that. Transition straight out of projects into our feature of the week. We got about 5 minutes till the top.
Yeah, I'm not going to
tip top of Mampara of the week. Weekend. Who is it?
Well, you just spoke about Njabulo Ngidi, who now writes for News 24. And he wrote this really good piece today. On the weekend, where he said Bafana have raised their game, so now SAFA have got to do the same for the team.
I love that.
They could have lost a game that they should never have lost. If there'd been one more pitch invasion, one more over-enthusiastic 15-year-old kid running onto the pitch. And it comes to Jake's story about how people who want to be in power in football are selfish. The only people you should vote for to be in power are those who don't want to be in power.
Touche.
So that's what you should. So if you desire power, then you're not worthy of it. And that's exactly what's happening at SAFA. I mean, there's a mess there. As Jake said, he doesn't know who the head of security was. At the beginning of this year, they hadn't had one for 2 years, and they still haven't got one. So they don't have protocols. They don't have, and we've got all those protocols from the 2003 World Cup, the 1995 World Cup, the 2007 T20 World Cup, which were the same. So we've got a list of protocols.
We hosted 2010.
Which are in boxes. So we actually have got all the protocols in place, what to do. But there just seems to be this nonsense about like the security company that was tendered and approved for 5 million rand, and it was double the last people, and the NEC actually stood up and got rid of it. So my Mampara off the week is Danny Udan, and the entire SAFA, not NEC, but the entire SAFA board that have not pushed and got a head of security and a proper set of protocols.
I don't think we need to deliberate about that. They are quite easily the mamparas of the weekend. Get it together, gentlemen and ladies. Like, what are we doing? You know, for so long, so I haven't worn, I'm wearing my Bafana Bafana top. I haven't worn this top, I kid you not, in maybe 2 years. Like, I don't want to be losers. When people ask me internationally when I travel, the Springboks. That's my. I say the Springboks. I don't say Bafana Bafana.
And Drickus.
That's it. Drickus and the Springboks. So now I would proudly wear this shirt, right? Or I'm kind of thinking in my mind, I would love to be in France, in Italy, in America right now and wear the Bafana Bafana shirt. Hey, we won 5-0. I'm not sure if you guys heard that. But now they'll go and Google and go, oh, did you? We also heard that the game stopped for 20 minutes. So, Mampara of the weekend, Safa. I don't think we need to say anymore.
Yeah, that's it. No, done and dusted. And you're absolutely right. Danny O'Donnell has stayed on probably 15, 20 years too long. And he's probably only been in charge for 10. Yeah. He's been there for 2 decades. It's ludicrous.
Absolutely ludicrous. You can be part of this conversation. 0788 777716. Your thoughts on Mampara of the weekend. If we missed out on one, please don't be shy to send your voice notes or your WhatsApps to that number. It is 0788 777716 on your thoughts on Mampara of the weekend. All right, let's get into what's on tonight. In the Nations League, it's Belgium, France, Germany, Netherlands. So 2 cracking games on paper tonight. That'll be a nice sort of appetizer as we get back to the real stuff come the weekend. And then in the AFCON qualifiers, Kenya play Cameroon and Togo play high-flying Algeria tonight. So that'll be a really, really fun watch. Speaking of which nation is nicknamed the Desert Warriors? Well, our question of the day. Which national team is nicknamed the Desert Warriors? Answer there, Kevin Ayers.
So when I initially saw this, I read it as Desert Warriors, and I was going to say... I was going to say ox and chair, because you didn't eat salads, you like cream. So definitely not the Desert Warriors. So they are the Desert Warriors, and it's Algeria.
It is. It's the great Algerian team. I mean, they are brilliant. They are really, really good. You know... Have you been to Algeria?
Never.
So if you haven't been to Algeria, there is this, let's call it self-worth, for lack of being, or for fear of being derisory. They have a self-worth where they almost in their minds are European. So, I mean, their second language, they're of course Arabic, but French is the other language they speak. It's like an official language. You know, great Zinedine Zidane. Where's he from? His parents, Algerian, you know, so they're the sort of link between Algeria and France. I mean, from some parts of Algeria, actually, you can actually see the European peninsula. There are parts of Africa at the tip there where you can see European peninsula. So they have a great affinity to Europe. Even if you look at their playing style, it's actually very, very European. And a lot of their guys obviously play in Ligue 1. So the Desert Warriors, a great, great football team. Algeria, brilliant. Riyad Mahrez, I mean, I look at the guys they've given us.
Yeah, well, indeed. I mean, and it's just been... It's a special part of it. So that a lot of them come across to Marseille, and there's that seems to be influence in France, that cross-cultural insemination, which is incredible for France as a team and as a country.
The Maghreb region, very, very strong at the moment in terms of football. The Desert Warriors, and not desert, Desert Warriors. The Desert Warriors are the Proteas. They are not shy to get stuck into whatever's in the buffet twice. But the Desert Warriors is Algeria. You love to hear it. You love to see it. It's Monday morning. It's been an absolute cracker. I hope you have the time of your life. Join us tomorrow as we bring you the greatest of sport from Africa and around the world.
Listen live and on demand.
Welcome to Omni Sport.